Hello there, and welcome back to the next video in our module on measures of central tendency. So if you're looking at the beginning of your book and you go to the tab on measures of central tendency, you will see that we did, we did some definitions, and now we are up to some word problems. So I want to show you how to use your skills on central tendency to solve some actual problems. And some of these problems can look pretty scary. They are pretty tough problems. So hopefully once you've seen a couple of them, these will be a little bit easier to spot and solve if you see them on an exam. So if you're ready, let's zoom in here to this problem and see what we're dealing with. And I'm going to use highlighters. I like to do that in word problems just to help me keep myself organized a little bit. So if you're using highlighters, you might want to grab one here and let's see what we have. You want to earn an 88% in a class. So that's your final goal for this class. If you scored 79%, 85%, and 90% on 3 tests, what do you need to score on the last test to meet your goal? Okay, one of the first things that makes this tough is that there is no mean, median, mode, range. None of those words is in this word problem. So I'm having to sort of figure out, using some background knowledge, what it is they're wanting me to see. Okay, so here is the key. You want to earn an 88%. Well, that is an 88% average. So when I was in college, I had to maintain a 94% average to keep my scholarship. So I did a lot of this kind of problem because I was figuring out how much do I have to make on my tests to meet that average of 88% or whatever the percent. Average is another word for mean. So indirectly, I can tell you from lots of experience that I am trying to find out a mean. I want to know what it's going to take to get a mean. So remember, to get a mean, you say that you add up your scores. This is how you do a mean in general. And you remember the second step is to divide by the number of scores. And I'm not doing any math, I'm just thinking through this problem. And that is going to give us the mean. That's what a mean is. You add up the scores, divide by the number of scores. So let's plug in some numbers that we have and see what we come up with. Well, the 88% is the mean that I want to have. So I'm going to put that over there under the mean. And I need to ask myself, how many tests do I have in this class? Well, I've already taken 3 of them. I had a 79, which was not so hot, but not so bad, an 85, and a 90. And then I still have another test to take. I have one more test, this last test, to take. So that's a total of 4 tests altogether. Would you agree with me that I have those 3 tests I've already scored, can't change those, plus one more test, and that score will get divided by 4, and then I'll have, hopefully, the 88 average that I'm looking for. So we're going to have to do algebra here. And I'll tell you what, I'm running out of room, so I'm going to move this over just a hair. And I apologize if you're doing this with me, because I know it's easy for me to do and not for you to do. but please just squeeze this in. Use the back if you need to. I just sort of underestimated how much room I'm going to need. Okay, so I'm going to focus on this piece of the puzzle right here. Let me zoom in. Okay, so let's go ahead and simplify just a little bit right here. And I'm going to come down here and I'll show you slowly what I'm doing. Remember, we want an 88. That is our goal. So let's go ahead and add up the points that we've already got. I have a 79 plus an 85 plus a 90. So I already have 254 points, and then I have to take another test. And we're going to divide that by 4. So all I did basically is to add this part. I added those to get the 254. I still have the word test, and I dropped the test on the bottom, but I kept the number that I needed. So I just simplified a little bit. Okay, those of you who have not had the algebra course, this is going to be a little bit tricky. But if you've had it, or if you have had algebra before, hopefully this is not too bad. Okay, what we're trying to do here is isolate this test. We want to know what the test has to be in order to make this average come out right. So the other side is your constant side. So my first step, I'm going to say, I want to move that 4. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 4. I'm not going to go into the why of this because that's a different course. But we do have an algebra course if you would like to take it. It's offered. I can help you do that. So these 4s are going to cancel. So I am left with 254 plus this last test that's still out there to be taken. And then 88 times 4 is 352. 88 times 4 on your calculator is 352. And then the last thing I need to do is get rid of that 254. And I'm going to do that with subtraction per the rules of algebra. Again, if you haven't had algebra, I suggest that you go complete that course and then come back to this one. It will be much better. So the test that I still have to take needs to be 352 minus 254. I need to score a 98 on that test to make this average work. That's almost a perfect score. So what we're saying here is that I need to score 98% on the last test. Okay. That's going to be tough to do. It's a pretty lofty goal to set. And this is not an easy problem, guys. This has a lot of algebra. You also have to know your rules of central tendency. So this is not an easy problem. If it feels difficult, it should. Okay. And I think I'm going to stop the video just so these are not so horribly long. And then we'll look at this problem on the bottom.